Morning, Toastmasters.
They went around.
Good morning.
We don't have any guests today, but it's fine. So, do you know the single most important reason that people leave a club or an organization or a business? Why do people leave a business? Why do you change the job?
They got bored.
Come again?
They got bored.
You got bored? Yeah,
Need more
that's probably
pay.
one reason.
More money.
More money? Okay.
Don't like the people around.
What research has shown is that 70% of the time, people leave an organization because they feel that they're not treated well. I mean, the rest of the folks are indifferent to their progress, their growth, and so on. It's indifference is what makes people leave the club. So, our club has been around for quite a while. We've achieved a lot of credits, and I'm very proud of the Dunwoody Toastmasters Club. We do have regular audience, we have good attendance at our meetings, we have a lot of camaraderie, we make our meetings very creative, we have table topics that are very creative and challenging. We do have, we do well at contests, and we have a lot of good things going with our club. We're a strong club. But I would like to take a look and view this not like an insider who's been around the club for 3 years, but from someone who's just come to our club and experienced our club for the first time, from prospect or a guest who's just moved in and sat into the first few, or maybe a new member like Divakar or Al or one of those alumni for that matter. So I want to see what they think of our club, because service is all important, right? And I would like to see how we as a club measure the quality of service. Are we here providing enough opportunities for our members to meet their speaking goals, their leadership goals? Are we progressing as a club towards our DCP goals? So how are we doing with the quality of service we provide newcomers? What's the experience, the whole Toastmaster experience at our club? So there is a successful club series that Toastmaster runs called Moments of Truth. So the Moments of Truth is a program that typically all clubs have at least once a year. And it's a long-run program meant to be actually a 1-hour session where you have an evaluation of different key elements to check how we're doing as a club. And yesterday I learned that we didn't have any speakers, so I thought I'd step in and take as much time as we could. But we do have other speakers today, so I'm going to cut this short. So this is going to be a 2-part program today. So what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to run through the 6 moments of truth. How many of you remember it? Some of your older members may remember that there are 6 aspects of the moments of truth that I'm going to cover. And then we're going to break out into small groups. I'll hand out papers so you could assemble and discuss each one of those moments of truth. Come back with your recommendations on how we can improve, as well as rate our club on those aspects as well. So that's what we're going to do today. So let me move on to the first slide. So we are all here, and the mission of Toastmasters Club is to have a positive learning environment where every member has an opportunity to develop. So how are we faring with regards to the Toastmaster mission is central to this entire theme. So this is something that we need to bear in mind when we rate our club. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So as I mentioned to you, the most important reason members leave a club, 68%, go elsewhere because they deal with people who are very indifferent to their needs. If you have a new member come in, but no one really cares about him or his growth in the organization, people are more interested in their own agendas, then you're going to find people leave the club. So we need to arrest that kind of feeling and make sure that everyone's engaged. Move on to the next slide, please. So what's the moment of truth? So some of you who are new members, try and remember the first day that you came to the club, the first day you visited a Toastmaster meeting. You were greeted by the members of the club, the officers. You had a feeling that this is a place where people are very friendly, and the first impression that hit you is this is a friendly club and this is where I would probably fit in, right? So that kind of a feeling is what's called the moment of truth, the experience that has a lasting impression on you. So today we're going to discover 6 of these moments of truth that we would like to evaluate our club on. What are our first impressions? That's when you come in, what are your first impressions of the club? Is the meeting organized well? Do you have tags? Do you have a sergeant-at-arms who's functioning effectively? Do you have all your ballot box papers out there? And what's your first experience of the club? Is this laid out in a way that's conducive for the meeting? Next thing is member orientation. If you are a new member who's joined the club, do you immediately get a mentor? Are you made? Is there a formal program that inducts you into the club, tells you what your roles are, what are the roles what are the expectations of you? Try to understand what you want to gain from the club, establish your goals and help you reach those goals, get you assigned to your first speech, and so on and so forth. Next is fellowship, variety, and communication. Toastmasters can tend to get very boring if you have a standard format. We have to keep trying new things. We've got to have a reverse meaning, you've got to have really creative table topics. You've got to try out, take part in contests, have some fun events, have banquets and other social events too. And how good are we with program planning and meeting organization? Do we send out the agendas ahead of time? Do we have people sign up ahead of time? That reminds me, we have a sign-up sheet out here that I would like to pass around that Karun wanted me to pass around for the next 4 weeks of our meetings. So how do we do with regards to communicating our meetings, planning ahead with what you schedule for the month or the next 2 months, and the roles assigned to different people? So that's what goes into program planning and meeting organization. And finally, how do we do on membership strength? We always need new blood in the club. We need new ideas. So how are we doing with recruiting new members? How many of our guests who come and get converted to members? So that's another thing that we would like to say. Lastly, achievement recognition. We're all here to move forward with our educational and leadership goals. But once you reach that, how are you appreciated with having made that achievement? Do you feel encouraged, or are people indifferent to what you gained here? So that really is important because it motivates you to do better. It motivates you to move ahead with your goals and keep pursuing other goals instead of just stopping at being a competent communicator. So in the interest of time, I'm probably not going to go into any more details on each one of these, but I'm going to pass out to you a handout that has this spelled out in greater detail. And I'm going to split this group into 3. Ideally, I would like to have one group where we're fairly newer members, and another group which has got more senior members. I think this half of the table would be our senior members. And we'll start with John here. 1, 2, 3. For the interest of time, I think I'm going to split it up into just 2 groups. It makes it easy that way. So I would like the last 3 aspects: the program planning and meeting organization, the membership strength, and achievement recognition. These are the 3 areas that this group is going to be discussing. And then you're going to rate our club on that. There's an evaluation form at the end of the sheet. And you're going to give your vote as to how we're faring on each one of these points. This is the evaluation form. And And finally, you're going to give recommendations of how we could do better. You choose amongst yourself one speaker once you're done with your discussion of over 5 minutes or so, and summarize what your group felt on those 3 points. Then I would like Diwakar, Lou, everyone from this side, from Vicky onwards, or maybe, no, Vicky join that group. So here's your handout, and you're all going to be looking at the first impression, the membership orientation, the fellowship variety, and everything. So this group is going to look at that, discuss amongst yourselves.